Chapter 3. I am running. The slapping of my feet against the wet leaves rebounds off one tree to the next. The sun's rays reflect the water on the leaves, turning the ground into an endless, shimmery brown lake. My feet slip and slide, but I quickly regain balance and continue to run. My heavy breathing creates a smoke signal, white puffs of air that appear and disappear, exactly like what's on the machine. There's a murmur of a whistle, like a bird. Except they left a long time ago. Just in time. Just before they were killed off like everything else. Caw-caw. No, that is a bird. I desperately search for it in the trees. They lied. A bird still exists. They tried to kill them, but one survived. Like me, I'll be the only one to survive, just like that lonely bird. Run, Evangeline. I have to keep running. My legs are tiring, but my lungs have strength. I have done this many times before. I know I can do this. I only have to be faster than last time. I veer off the path and weave in and out between the trees, making figure eights around several groupings at once. My mind is telling me this will keep me safe. They will have a harder time tracking me. But my heart tells me it doesn't matter. They will find me, no matter what. A part of me wants to believe this is a game. The other part screams my life is in great danger. A faint rumble haunts me, closing the distance between us. In time, the ground vibrates, a tremble at first, as it builds in momentum, the earth rolling under my feet. Then it grows into a ferocious quake as the rumbling heightens in a wordless battle to drown out the physical sensations. Banshee shriek-like whistles pierce the sky. The forest disappears behind me as I enter an open field. There is nowhere to hide. I can't turn around, not now. The clamor is rapidly growing closer and more thunderous with every second. I squat down, struggling to keep my balance among the wobbling terrain and cover my ears to contemplate my next move. Think, Evangeline, think. Looking up again, I spot one lone, beautiful tree ahead of me, stretching tall and powerful on the rising cliff, as though it's a warrior reaching to grab the sun from the sky. Even in the distance, the magnitude of its size is noticeable, with branches that extend for miles of luscious green leaves that have yet to turn color or fall. If I can make it there, I can find shelter. The leaves will cover me and protect me, keep me safe until I can determine my next move. They've always told us not to climb. They say we will die. But here they are now, belligerently fighting to kill me. My options are limited. I need to climb that tree and hide. It's my only hope. I run again. The ground shakes harder and my balance loses the battle. The tree, it's swaying, dancing, calling out to join it. It's not getting any closer. I am running. I keep running. But the tree in all its glory is not getting any closer. I glance over my shoulder to witness a cloud-sized billow of steam rise from the forest. Ear-splitting crashes and clatters of thick branches snapping in pieces replace the rumbling. They aren't leaving anything to its mercy. Their message is clear. They are out to kill me and anything else that stands in their way. When I look ahead again, unexpectedly, the immense tree is facing me. This is the first time I've made it so close. I should celebrate, but I'm frozen in admiration of the leaves and branches that rise to the sky and wonder how I might reach them. I want to cry and scream at the steep elevation laughing in my face, blocking me from seeing the trunk, let alone reaching the tree at all. My entire body aches, and my lungs burn from lack of oxygen. I can't make it. Somehow, I force my arms and legs to pull me up the sharp hill, step by step. Rocks slip under my body, clanging below in music that presumptuously mourns my death. The hill's way of placing its bet on how this will end. In that song, I find the determination I need to keep moving. They won't kill me. I won't let them. As I near the top, a gnarled finger points in my face. It's a part of the tree root that pushed through the hill, extended like a peace offering for all my hard work to get to this point. I gladly accept its assistance and use it as a crutch to swing myself up on flat ground once again. And there it is, welcoming me to its home. The tree is exquisite, necessitating a moment to stop and stare to admire its magnificence. But my life is at stake. I have to keep moving. The whistling is deafening as it screeches louder and louder, threatening to rupture my eardrums with each blood-curdling declaration. They're out to get me and won't stop until they succeed. A movement in the middle of the tree catches my eye. The outline of a man reaches down, his hand stretching out to offer help while carefully not drawing attention to himself. Leaves shade his face, but his body is lean and strong with muscles and veins popping from his extended arm. I can't see who it is. What if it's one of them, tricking me as they've done many times before? A blinding light in my peripheral vision distracts me. For the first time, I notice a body of water inflamed by the sun, diamonds decorating the crescents that sway and flow. An ocean, an infinite escape route from here so they can never find me again. The waves could carry me anywhere. I don't care where, as long as it's far from here. I glance once more at the tree and the man's arm protruding from it. I've fought many dreams to get to this point, but now there's a new option. The machine can reach me on land, but not in the water. I make a split-second decision. The ocean's crystal blue water beckons. I run as fast as I can drag my fatiguing legs. I make the mistake of looking over the hill. The cold and calloused steel frame stretches for miles, while a gigantic circular pipe on the top cab blasts out steam. The plowed, broken-down trees from the forest decorate the horizon behind it, like the sad remains of a battleground, to add emphasis to its power. They found me. The quaking ground is much too powerful now. My running slows into shaky steps in my final attempt for survival. I think the man from the tree is yelling my name, but I don't know him. I can't trust him. The heat of the machine as it moves in, closer and closer with the terrorizing squeals, threatens to explode my mind. I muster all my energy for one final desperate move as I leap over the cliff with faith the ocean will catch me. The machine growls in warning. My ears pop from the turbulence. I stretch out my body and float in the air. The sun basks on my face as I fall, and hope I will still end up alive when I land. The sun cascades down on me. Groaning, I cover my eyes with my hands and roll to the side. It's so bright. But most importantly, I'm not drowning. This time I made it to the tree and saw there's an ocean. I'm getting faster. But what if I were to choose the tree? It seems too risky. I don't know who that man is, and I'm not sure I want to find out. I also learned the birds didn't die. They flew away before they became extinct. Surely that must be true. There's somewhere else, perhaps another community or the void between, with wildlife that still exists. I could feel the truth. If I told Gavin, he'd argue against the logic of the dream, that there's no way it could reveal information like that. But over the years, I've been able to discern the difference. I can feel the truth, for however briefly before the remedy wipes it away. It's a hint of the intuition that would exist if I were born in the before. It's what I wanted the most to exist now. It would lead me to the truth and tell me who I can or cannot trust. Rubbing my eyes, I finally force them back open to find a pair of destructed leather sneakers only inches from my face. Gavin. I sit up quickly. Gavin peers down at me, the daytime rays marking a twinkle in his blue eyes, and a grin sweeps his face.
Well, hello there. Did I catch an act punishable by law?
Standing and stretching my arms high above me, I yawn. I can't believe I fell asleep. It only proves I would sleep more if I could make a bed under the open sky. Early in our friendship, Gavin refused to let me wander too far from Impetus's protective thickets.
Destruction, bones, diseases, he'd mutter.
Over the years, we slowly drifted further into the forest.
Everyone is a little diseased, right, Gavin? I'd retort, while sticking my tongue out at him and moving my foot one step further than the day before. Eventually, he gave up the ruse and stopped fighting it. Now he relishes my level of comfort with the outside when I break laws in such a subconsciously liberating way. Brushing the leaves off my navy cargo pants, I say, "I keep making you proud, huh?" Being outside of Impetus's walls is one of the biggest offenses I can make. In that light, everything else I do becomes somewhat inconsequential, including dreaming. There's nothing in the law books about that. I looked it up after I had my first one. Apparently they trust remedy more than they should. Gavin laughs and picks a leaf out of my hair, letting it fall gently to the ground. You've come a long way, Evie. I have taught you well.
He winks and zips up his gray hoodie, covering his light blue t-shirt underneath so he could better blend in with the forest. I love that blue shirt. It illuminates his eyes every time he wears it.
Let's walk.
Once under the thicker trees, a dense fog covers us. We pass through one wall after another of mist that leaves tiny droplets in Gavin's shaggy brown hair and facial stubble. The leaves crunch loudly under our feet, causing a cluster of green and brown broken pieces to jut from the ground. Gavin quietly hums a tune I've never heard before. There seems to be a slight hop in his step. Something good must have happened today.
It's not often I'm left waiting for you,
I observe casually, hoping he will tell me where he was. When I arrived at our spot today, Gavin was nowhere to be found. This has only happened a few times before, but usually he shows up within minutes. Today, it was long enough for me to fall asleep. That's a new record.
Were you missing me?
Gavin's eyes lighten with amusement.
Even if I knew what that was like, I doubt it. I knew you'd show up. You always eventually do.
I shoot him a teasing smile. Then I try again.
Busy day?
Mm-hmm, he mumbles, acknowledging my question, but stubbornly elusive. He never shares many details about what he does when I'm away. When I press, he predictably responds with,
I want to enjoy my time with you. You're my sanctuary away from everything else, so let me have that. The first time he told me that, I couldn't bring myself to argue against it. Honestly, I haven't been able to any time since then either. I like the idea of being his sanctuary, yet I still wish he would share more with me. After a few moments of silence, Gavin asks, Evie, if you unearthed thousands of books in one of your digs, how do you think you'd feel? I groan. I knew this would happen. The wheels in his mind are always turning. Do we have to do this today? Gavin nods solemnly. Yes, it's important. This is the feelings game we have played ever since our first meeting, and the patterns of my runaway meetings with Gavin started. The book he found from the before that initiated this talked about notions like happiness, anger, excitement, jealousy, and heartbreak. It also discussed sensory concepts like soft, hard, smooth, rough, wet, and dry. Evidently, Gavin has become a self-proclaimed expert, describing these ideas and walking me through what the before would feel during special circumstances, and what they would feel when touching all sorts of objects. He was obsessed with the idea that things were not always as reliant on logic and eyesight as they are now. Well, think about it. You just unearthed thousands of ancient books. How do you think you would feel? He repeats, as though saying it twice would make me want to play along even more. I shrug and respond with, happy? Although I know it's a weak answer. I'm hoping I'll dissuade him from realizing how committed I actually am. Gavin shakes his head, ignoring the equivocal nature of my remarks. That's a good guess, but happy wouldn't quite be enough. The worst part of this game is when I can relate to a feeling he's teaching me. When I have a moment of recognizing that I feel it, even if fleeting, after one of my dreams. Yes, it brings me closer to the truth, but it also brings me closer to those that lived in the before, a population I have yet to understand. The people of the before destroyed themselves, emotions a primary trigger that set off the chain of events that led to their annihilation. Feelings clash with logic. We've learned how to be better without them and rely on logic to guide us. But logic isn't the best determiner of the truth. Everything can make sense when spun the right way. Feelings guide you when you're blinded by all else. I will never share this belief with Gavin. Sometimes I think he's the man in the tree in my dreams, and if so, why am I scared to trust him once feelings are interlaced with my mind? Does that mean I shouldn't trust him now? I sigh against his rejection of my feelings game answer. What would be accurate then? Try excited. That's an extreme version of being happy. How would you tell I am excited versus happy? For once, I think I have him stumped and am already thinking about how to change the topic. Before I can open my mouth, he replies, Emotions are tied in with actions. It's not only about the look on your face, but what you are doing with the rest of your body as well. For excited, you may jump up and down or wave your hands. I picture me jumping and waving my hands over finding a pile of books. What in the world would that accomplish? The before wasn't just about accomplishing tasks, Evangeline. It was about how you feel, and sometimes innate actions can follow those feelings. I know better than to bring it up with Gavin, especially when he uses my full name. But acting solely based on feelings is irrational. The before's resulting demise all but proved that. If feelings make a person do nonsensical things like jump up and down, why would we want them? It's exactly why Impetus argues for the importance of using our minds to determine our actions.
But Impetus elders haven't felt the freedom after jumping off a cliff into the ocean, or the calloused branch of a tree that collides with the softness of my skin as my hand grips around it. They may say they know what it's like to be alive, but they haven't felt what it's like. I get brief hints of it in my dreams. Instead of releasing any more comments that could extend the feelings game today, I shift the subject. We had a change in teacher today. Gavin hastily stops and faces me.
What do you mean?
A new teacher replaced a level 17 teacher we've had all year.
Was it a temporary sub?
I tug the straps on my boots tighter and wipe off the mud. They weren't designed to handle the rougher terrain outside of Impetus.
Nope. Did anyone say where the old level 17 teacher went?
Gavin, you know better than that. It is unlike Impetus to offer any suggestion if something out of the ordinary changes. We can't ask questions seeking information that isn't our business. We aren't even supposed to think about questions. If they arise in our mind, they are to be immediately discarded. It displays a lack of trust in the community that strives so hard to protect us every day. The unpaired filled the teacher positions anyway, so no one gives them much thought. Gavin gives a slight nod of his head and continues walking.
Who was it?
Miss Mary, I respond absent-mindedly.
Kind of strange she would leave a few days before your level was finished, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess so. It's not a big deal, but I know not to disagree with him. It would draw out a needless discussion. I only brought it up to provide a break from the feelings game, and now regretted choosing this topic.
Did anything odd occur? Anything different with Miss Mary that you noticed before she left?
I bend over and pick up a rock, throwing it up in the air and catching it. Nope, it's nothing. We had a different voice teaching us things she would do anyway. I nudge him with my arm. Don't obsess over this. Too late. Gavin stares at the ground, his hand subconsciously running through his hair deep in thought. I lost him for the rest of the day. It's like the feelings game. He spends too much time thinking about things that occurred in the past. I try to make him more present-focused, but it's a losing battle. Especially when one of his favorite sayings is, "Studying past mistakes can alter your future, which determines your present actions." The first time I heard him say that, my mind reeled, trying to understand what he meant. Even though I partially agree, I've argued against his saying multiple times before, working to convince him that sometimes it's okay to start with a clean slate. It's like erasing your memory, I said. You would still wake up one day and move forward with the future in mind. You don't need a past to be successful in your present and future. The past does not carry any weight. But Gavin won't budge. It's impossible to make him see things in any other way when his mind is set on one view. I still try to challenge him, though. Okay, I should get to work. I toss a rock in the air in front of him. It thuds at his feet with no reaction from Gavin. I'll see you tomorrow. Still distracted and barely lifting his eyes to look at me, he mumbles,
"Bye, Evie."
I break off from Gavin and head back out of the woods toward Impetus. Usually he walks me back to make sure I return safely, so it's odd that Miss Mary's disappearance paralyzed him to that spot. I take out my hair tie and shake out my long strands to remove any leaves that caught. I pull it back in a tighter ponytail as per acceptable standards in Impetus. Then I duck under the chunky log I rely on to mark the only entrance and exit I've ever used, and push through the thick borders until I am near the other side. Listening carefully, I poke my head out of the thickets for a quick visual survey. The coast is clear, so I push all the way out, swiftly stand up, and walk innocently as though I am observing the gardens. They're just beautiful.
I claim if I run into anyone soon after I re-enter Impetus. I won't be surprised if the Elders Board assigns me to take care of the gardens for my future. I'm sure I've given mixed signals to them over the years. No one can discover I go outside of Impetus's walls. Not only is it considered unlawful and a sign of rebellion, but it leaves my survival even more at risk. Our wrist monitors only work within a 3-mile radius of the Lightstones, which is precisely where the bushes decorate the edges of Impetus. If our remedy levels were to drop significantly, especially if we got lost outside of the walls, our wrist monitors couldn't notify us of the need to regulate it. The result, then, is death. As Mr. Penciolata reminds us,
"We are here to protect your lives and value to Impetus. If you are caught breaking Law A0113, it tells us you no longer want your life. Putting your own life at risk puts the lives of all the community members at risk. You will be punished and banned from Impetus."
Despite these threats, almost every day for 12 years I've taken the chance. I venture out of Impetus to see someone that is an inherent piece of my life. Gavin. And there's not a thought in my head that tells me it's not worth it. I want to live. Truly live life. And I'm not sure staying in Impetus will ever fulfill that.